Off the coast of Rome, divers haul an ancient Iron Maiden from the depths of the sea. When its rusted doors creak open on deck, a woman tumbles out one, an immortal who has endured 5 centuries of imprisonment beneath the waves. 6 months after Booker's punishment of enforced solitude, Andy reunites her teen Joe, Nikki, Niall, and Copley for a covert mission to split to recover a hidden weapons cache. While in hiding, Niall is haunted by a vivid dream. A mysterious woman subdues a victim in a grand library and vanishes with their books. Meanwhile, in Paris, Booker is abducted by Quan. Determined to find her, Andy and Copley track down Tua, a sage immortal in soul, one of Andy's oldest allies. Tua recounts how he once tried to save Quan before she was sealed away centuries ago. He reveals that a collection of his books containing secrets of the Immortals was stolen long ago by an enigmatic arms dealer known only as Discord. The group relocates to a hideout in Rimini. There, Andy receives a chilling message, a note from Quan, delivered through a freed Booker, demanding a meeting in Rome where her torment began. Their reunion is fraught with bitterness. Quan accuses Andy of breaking her promise to rescue her and, after a brief but fierce clash, takes back her necklace, leaving old wounds deeper than before. Elsewhere, Nell confronts Discord, who reveals a shocking truth. She was the first immortal, and Niall is the last. Their matching birthmarks confirm a strange, fated connection. Tua presents a grim theory: when the last immortal wounds another, they can strip away immortality. Of course, the lost power can be gifted to another through injury, transferring the gift to a curse of eternal life. This theory is partially proven when Niall accidentally cuts Booker's arm during training, and his wound fails to heal. In 1932, identical twins and World War I veterans Elijah, Smoke and Elias Stackmore returned to Clarksdale, Mississippi, having spent 7 years working for the Chicago outfit. Using money stolen from gangsters, they purchased a sawmill from landowner Hogwood to start a juke joint for the local black community. Their cousin Samir, an aspiring guitarist, joins them despite his pastor father Udadiah's warnings about the sins of blues music. The twins recruit pianist Delta Slim as a performer, local Chinese shopkeeper couple Grace and Bo Chow as suppliers, field worker Cornbread as a bouncer, and Smoke's wife Annie as a cook. Annie believes her hoodoo practices kept the twins safe, but Smoke doubts them for not preventing their infant daughter's death. Stack runs into his white-passing ex-girlfriend Mary, who resents him for abandoning her out of protection. Elsewhere, Irish immigrant vampire Remick shelters from Choctaw vampire hunters with a merry Klansman couple, whom he turns into vampires. On the joint's opening night, Samir, Delta Slim, and Perline, a singer with whom Samir becomes enamored, perform on stage. Samir's music is transcendent, in knowingly summoning spirits of both past and future to join the crowd. However, the performance also attracts Remick and his minions, who offer money and music in exchange for entry. A suspicious Smoke refuses. The twins realize that their patrons' reliance on company script makes it impossible for the joint to be profitable. Reasoning with Stack that outside income is necessary, Mary meets Remick outside, but is bitten. Returning inside, she seduces and fatally bites Stack. Samir and Smoke discover them. Smoke shoots Mary, but she is unaffected and escapes. Outside, Remick turns Cornbread. Smoke closes the joint early. As the patrons and Bo leave, the vampires turn them. Stack revives as a vampire, but flees after Annie repels him with pickled garlic juice. Annie realizes their assailants are vampires and tells them, survivors, how to deter and defeat them in that killing. Remick will not revert the others back into humans. Although Remick and his vampires share a hive mind, their personalities remain intact. Former Finson director Raymond King meets the enigmatic assassin N.A., seeking her help to locate a missing Salvadorian family. He presents her only a dated photograph of the parents and their young son. N.A. neither accepts nor refuses his request, but warns him that he is being followed. Moments later, a gunfight erupts. King is killed, while N.A. walks away in horror. Before his death, King's scrawls find the accountant on his arm. His protege and current Finson director, Mary Beth Medina, identifies his body and decides to continue his investigation. Although wary of Christian Wolf's criminal past, Medina enlists his help to track down the family in the photograph. Wolf compiles a detailed trail, revealing the family fled El Salvador for Los Angeles, facing numerous dangers en route. Meanwhile, how the hitman responsible for King's death reports to his superior, Berg, who orders him to continue hunting N.A. Fearing she might uncover his past crimes, Christian brings in his estranged brother, Braxton, also an assassin, to assist in the mission. At the same time, Justine still residing at the New Hampshire facility where she once met, Christian mobilizes a group of autistic children to hack various networks for clues. They manage to retrieve a photograph of Anne but fail to identify her, disillusioned by their illegal tactics. Medina goes her own way, following a lead to a hospital mentioned in King's reports. There, she uncovers the truth. Anne is the very mother from the photo. Years ago, a car accident left her with brain damage, memory loss, and a form of acquired savant syndrome that heightened her combat skills. Beta, a contractor for assassins, issues a hit on Medina, but Braxton refuses the job. Christian later spots the message on his brother's phone, realizes Medina is in danger, and rushes to her aid, arriving after Anne has already wounded her. At Medina's home, Anne sees the old photograph of her family, triggering fragments of her memory. She recalls that Bert is the one who imprisoned her and murdered her husband in Mars. Christian and Braxton soon learn that Anne's autistic son, Alberto, is alive but held captive in a Juarez prison camp along with other trafficked children. Together, they storm the compound.
Ballerina, marketed as From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, is a 2025 American action thriller film directed by Len Wiseman and written by Shay Hatton. It is a spin-off within the John Wick franchise, set between Chapter 3, Parabellum and Chapter 4. The film stars Ana de Armas as Eve Macaro, a ballerina-turned-assassin who seeks revenge for her father's death. The supporting cast includes Angelica Houston, Gabriel Byrne, Lance Reddick in his final screen appearance, Norman Reedus, Ian McShane, and Keanu Reeves. Eve is the daughter of assassins Javier of the Rusca Roma and his cultist wife. As a child, she is taken by her father from the cult, which leads to her mother's death. The cult raids their home to retrieve her, killing Javier as he helps Eve escape. Winston Scott, manager of the New York Continental, brings her to the Rusca Roma, a secret assassin society disguised as dancers. Over 12 years, Eve trains as a ballerina, assassin, and bodyguard. She meets John Wick briefly during his visit with the director, who urges her to leave this violent life. She earns the title, Kikimora, after killing a rogue Rusca Roma member and successfully completes her first mission. 2 months later, she is attacked by a cultist and kills him. Seeking revenge, she asks the director about the cult, but is forbidden due to a fragile truce. Eve disobeys orders and visits Winston at the New York Continental. He informs her about Daniel Pine, a cultist staying at the Prague Continental, carrying a high bounty. There, she discovers Pine hiding his daughter Ella from the cult. Lena, a cult member, increases the bounty, and assassins swarm the hotel. Pine is fatally shot while entrusting Ella to Eve. Lena kidnaps Ella, and Eve narrowly escapes punishment under the Continental's rules. Eve tracks the cult's base to Hallstatt, Austria, where the entire town is filled with cultists.
Beginning in 1996, the Mission Impossible film series follows the daring operations of the Impossible Mission Force IMF, led by field operative Ethan Hunt. Each installment revolves around Hunt's high-stakes missions to stop formidable adversaries and avert catastrophic global threats. Staying true to its television roots, the series balances Hunt's leadership with an ensemble cast of recurring allies, including Luther Stickle Ving Rhames and Benji Dunn Simon Pegg. 2 months after reclaiming the key to the source code for the malevolent artificial intelligence known as the Entity, the rogue IMF agent Ethan Hunt receives a message from U.S. President Erica Sloan. She warns that the Entity has begun seizing control of global nuclear systems with the help of undercover doomsday cultists. Ordered to hand over the key, Ethan refuses, continuing his relentless pursuit of Gabriel, the Entity's former proxy. Hunt and IMF agent Benji Dunn rendezvous with their alien comrade, hacker Luther Stickle, in his underground London lab. There, Luther unveils a newly developed malware known as the Poison Pill, designed to neutralize the Entity. The team enlists intelligence officer Theo Degas and Gabriel's ex-lieutenant, Paris, who reveals Gabriel's location. But in London, Gabriel's men ambush Ethan and IMF operative Grace, forcing Ethan to retrieve the Podkova module, a powerful device derived from the infamous Sevastopol. Possession of this module would grant Gabriel ultimate control over the Entity. With his team's aid, Ethan and Grace escape. Soon after, the Entity contacts Ethan, showing him chilling visions of nuclear annihilation and threatening Luther's life. It demands access to a digital bunker in South Africa to ensure its survival. Ethan instructs his team to secure the Sevastopol's coordinates and prepare for his dive mission. Racing to save Luther, he arrives to Lake Gabriel, steals the poison pill and traps Luther with the time bomb. Luther sacrifices himself to limit the blast, while Ethan is transported to the Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center. With only 3 days left before the entity gains full nuclear launch control, Ethan convinces President Sloan to let him locate the Sevastopol over the objections of CIA Director Eugene Kittredge. Meanwhile, Grace, Benji, Paris, and a god journey to St. Matthew Island in the Bering Sea, home to a Cold Warrior sonar array that first detected the Sevastopol sinking. There they meet former CIA analyst William Donlow, exiled after Ethan's legendary 1996 Langley High Steed, who has memorized the submarine's coordinates. When Russian special forces close in, Grace and Donlow's wife, Tepisa, escape by a dog sled, while the others hold off the attackers long enough for Donlow to transmit the coordinates to Ethan.